Okay, I am amped. We are back to one of my favorite segments, Russell Around the Interwebs. But this week on Season 2, Episode 5 of Philly Comedy Club Presents the RUS GUTIN Experience here on Zoom. I am so excited to welcome a very, very good friend of mine. But like I said, also happens to be one of everyone's favorite Eagles personalities in all of the Eagles radio, podcast, and Twitterverse. And now he has a brand new company, Last Out Media. And we have a Philly special Eagles edition to break down the Eagles 2020 season tonight. Please welcome my friend, Mr. John Barchard, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey,
hey, what's up, buddy?
Crazy. It's like we're back at Big Wings in East LA, and we're about
That's
ready
right.
to
That's right.
have some 9 a.m. football. This is
Here
fantastic.
we go. Well, yeah, I missed that. Oh, man, that was one of the things I missed the most, moving back to the East Coast. I liked rolling out of bed into the unlimited Bloody Mary bar at Big Wings, and all of us harassing the other customers to the point where the Yelp reviews actually mention us by name, calling us animals. And they were correct. They were correct. So, John, like you already mentioned, you and I go all the way back to my LA days when I was the co-founder of the Nest of the West at Big Wings in Hollywood. And I've been a huge fan of yours ever since then. Your coverage of everything Eagles is always so passionate and excitable and genuine. And I think that's why I and all of your fans and followers on Twitter and social media do love and like you so much. I think we feel like we connect with you because your excitement is just like ours. It's truly genuine. And for the last few years, you've been an amazing radio personality on WIP and Go Birds. But now, like an eagle, you are soaring free. And you have partnered up to create a brand new media company and studio called Last Out Media. So, before we break down the birds tonight, John, please tell me the origins of Last Out Media and your podcast on there, The Barchard Show, and you're the producer of a bunch of other ones. Give me the breakdown.
Yeah. Wow. That was geez.
I'm getting good at this.
I feel like you just put me on Mount Rushmore, and I'm just like this tiny little anthill. It's just like, hey, I'm just here to hang out. So
yeah, you're just visiting Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, that's why Russ is the ultimate hype man. Like, God Almighty.
That's what they say.
Yeah. Can you just enter? If you could come into every opportunity in closed sales or land that next job interview or whatever it is, I just needed to present you first. I'm like, here's my resume, and you could just do that.
And I just do that. Yeah, comics say it all the time. Like, Russell, that was a really nice intro, but you also really, really made me seem a little bit too established, and they were expecting a lot more than I was going to be giving them tonight. Yeah, but I'm like a wrestling hype man, baby.
And that's why, that's why you and I connected way back then, and that passion is just, I'm just a dude, like just like you. I got fed up with my 9-to-5 job and turned around and said, I'll just podcast about the Eagles and see how this goes, like an idiot. And and like
all risk involves idiocy. Go ahead.
Of course, yeah, and enter Last Out Media. So there's, and that's just another big challenge for me.
But sort of an evolution. So you did that, and it ended up growing for you in a way that now you can do it again, but in a much bigger and sort of at least trying to call your shot kind of way.
Oh yeah, for sure. All the confidence in the world, because like meeting John Crichton, who's the other partner in this, and Vince Quinn, who's kind of our right-hand man and doing all these things. Like, we've all had different experiences of just kind of creating all this different stuff, and we've been through the radio world, and it's been fantastic. And like working for WIW, amazing, because we got all that Eagles coverage. I got to meet so many different Eagles players, and I was just like, what am I doing here in the press box? Like, I'm just Russ Gutin in the press box. I don't.
Yeah, and look at this food spread. It's for shit. You know what I mean? They treat the press like shit.
No. Actually, it's one of the top in the league. Everybody raves about, and they should.
Oh, the Philly one. Yes. Yeah. No, I just know in general, sometimes you guys post pictures when you're on the road of the food spread. It's very depressing. Very disconcerting.
Don't go.
And I love Vince Quinn, by the way. Shout out to Vince Quinn. He's entertained me on many many a late night, you know, I'm sure when they're giving him the shit graveyard shift, but you know what? People like me are driving home from a late night at work. So he's really entertained me, and he took a lot of shit from those callers, and he handled it really well. So did you. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Oh, you even from here?
Well,
Okay.
that's why I think we can relate so much, because like it's not that far off from
Right.
stepping up to and being a comic. I mean, like at least we get breaks to recover. Like you guys don't. There's nowhere to hide for you guys, so it's definitely tougher for you.
Yeah, but you are putting yourself out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
for
setting
4
yourself
hours.
up to be attacked.
Yeah, and getting all that, like, it just come, and you're inviting it. You're like, I bet you suck too. Come and yeah, let's argue about it. So,
Especially like you have a take in the third quarter of a game, and people are like, "You should think about learning how to landscape, you dumb motherfucker." Like, I was just commenting on Doug's play
like,
call. Like,
yeah,
I'm just watching the game, man.
yeah, it was just a timeout, bro. It's okay. Yeah.
Now, actually, that brings me to my question. What is Last Out Media's mission, and what are some of your favorite shows that you guys have available on there right now for people to check out?
Oh,
My
man.
favorite is the Waterboys show, if just because the name I tuned in. So they got me with just the name.
Well, well, let's start there. Yeah, the Water Boys are fantastic. That was one of my, like, they brought me on when we were doing Go Birds and all that fun stuff at WIP. And I had so much fun with them during this, you know, the Corona hit and the sports were going away. And I was like, all right. And I was like, well, why don't I just produce you guys and just see, you know.
I've got some time. Maybe I can mold this clay.
Let's see if we can mentor this, and I can screw around on there and just kind of figure out what's next and do all that. And Kyle and Gary and PJ were so awesome that, you know, they had just as much energy as I did when, you know, I first started podcasting and wanted to get into all this stuff.
Well, they're younger. I like that perspective. Yeah. I learn a lot of millennial words that I didn't know the meaning of.
Yeah.
And then I look it up on Google and I feel more.
Yeah. Yeah. And exactly. And that's what's great. 'Cause like, they look at me like I'm some grandpa, which is fantastic. And Gary's a little more laid back. Kyle's that single life right as when we were in LA. Like that's what he's doing right now. PJ's even younger. He's 21. He's a big dumb idiot, and he's so lovable.
Right. He says they say crazy shit because they grew up with shit being good too. By the way,
yes,
they didn't live through all the bullshit that we did. So some of these younger fans are, you know, they expect it to be like that all the time. It's like, no, we won a Super Bowl, so why don't you strap in for about 37 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were yelling at us too. They were yelling at us too, because they're still right. By the way, the generation before us had it much worse. The 70s, and we'll get into all that.
Oh, for sure. But like I said, you motherfuckers, I don't even want to fucking hear it. We walked uphill to our Eagles games just to be disappointed by Buddy Ryan the first game in the playoffs every year. My back still hurts.
Sit on his stick, you know, like all that. Like, okay.
Randall kept hurting his goddamn knee. Then the next thing you know, he's a Minnesota Viking. My dreams was broken.
Oh, so man, it stinks. I took an Uber and got to the game. Like,
All right, John. It is time for where the rubber meets the road, though. Okay.
Yes.
This is it, and I'm excited. It is time for me to pepper you with questions about the Eagles 2020 season far.
All right.
Which somehow, at a record of 3-4-1, where we tied the motherfucking Bengals, we are somehow in first place of the NFC least. King of the dipshits, as always, here in Philadelphia. So my first question to you is, John, why do we do this to ourselves?
Well, here's the thing. There's so much wrong with this season. I almost kind of forgot about that tie until you re-brought it up.
Oh, no, because you Men in Black, like I erase it from my DVR. It never happened.
No, it's just a laundry list of shit. It's just, it's non-stop from all, I mean, from the world, but like in the Eagles bubble, it's just, oh yeah, that guy got hurt. Oh yeah, they didn't have that anymore. Oh, right, there was the thing.
There he goes. This guy came back from injury only to injure himself 30 seconds into being back from injury.
The Eagles kind of kicked the crap out of the Cowboys, and no one's happy about it, and they shouldn't be. Like, it's just so weird. We got here because 2017 somehow, I can't believe this, was a mirage.
Right, yeah, that sucks.
but it was a mirage that came true. It's just like someone went, oh no, we forgot to put the genie back in the bottle and it was too late. And then that was it.
Well, yeah, and then and again, I'm one of those people that thinks that Frank Reich leaving was a big part. I felt like he was Doug's sounding board. You know, when they said they met on Saturday nights and just said, okay, we have a plan. Now let's just throw some shit at the wall because we are just the old, you know, I think of myself like a journeyman comedian, a Josh McGowan, if you will, a Ryan Fitzmagic. You know, I've played for 18 franchises. I'm 4,000 years old in football years, but that's what Doug and Frank Reich were. So to me, that has been a missing element ever since then. To me, that's one thing you can maybe zero in on that isn't there.
Consistency always. And it might not directly be Frank, because I know we like to play that guessing game a lot there too.
Yes.
And he's certainly having a lot of success with the Colts and the overqualified. I still blame Ross Tucker to this day for that, because he just tweeted. He literally tweeted Jim Irsay, maybe you should give him a look. I'm going, what are you doing?
Thanks, Ross. You know, I like you, Ross. I want to like you.
Everything would have been fine. We wouldn't have been complaining about Carson Wentz in his future. Everything would have been fine.
Oh man, you're right.
But yeah, I here's the thing. I have no idea what they're really looking for, and it seems like they're clashing on all this stuff. I know that there's been like this up and down. I don't know. Seems like
well, no,
like
I do feel like
are
we in it to win it this year? Are we doing a soft rebuild? Is it a youth movement?
Yes.
Or are we bringing in Darius Slay, who has been a disappointment too? I mean, how many pass interference? The guy never got them in Detroit.
What is wrong with this? Is exactly what's wrong with this team and this year in Philadelphia in general. No one knows what's good. No one knows what's bad.
Right.
It's just all a mess. And rightfully so.
Is it good in comparison to what I've seen? Like, I understand they played really well in the third and fourth quarter, but they played, I mean, so badly in the second quarter that you're like, you know what? Maybe I'll take up knitting. Like, there's just, like, you ask yourself questions, like self-effacing questions, but then Carson, like, makes it happen again because he's very erratic. And I would say this. So speaking of Frank Reich and feeling like maybe Doug doesn't have a filter or maybe it's something else, my question to you is, do you think the only way to get big balls Doug Peterson to not go for two every time is to put one of those shock collars on him, you know, for a dog that you get at PetSmart? Or do you think it's a sign that he just clearly doesn't trust Jake Elliott anymore, even on short ones?
We'll go get Tony from the block and
right.
Don't you fucking do it.
Yeah. No, I'd say let's go to the PetSmart and get Doug one of those collars, the one in Philly, but it may or may not be on fire, but that's another story.
Well, it's a lot of all that stuff. Like it's analytics. I think it's them like overthinking a lot of situations. But I don't really necessarily disagree with all of their decisions either.
Right.
In going and doing because you're going to have to. It's better to know what you have to do. And with this squad, like, what's the difference between 1 or 2 points?
No, I guess you're right. I like rolling Jalen Hurts. I like throwing Jalen Hurts out for a 2-point conversion. I mean,
I don't like the plays they call for him in those situations.
No, why? Yeah, but then I was just going to say that. But why run him in shotgun? Yeah. He's supposed to be there to take the bullet for, you know, he's the backup. So, but it's great that he's so athletic. And I kept thinking they would use him as more like Tyson Hill, I believe his name is, in New Orleans. Yeah. I thought they were going to more, you know, kind of like the Phillies. They're obsessed with utility men. So I really thought that that's where they were going to start with Jalen Hurts anyway. But if you're going to do that, you gotta put the kid in a position to succeed, not run some, you know, fly screen or whatever it was on first on a 2-point conversion. That's nutty. Okay, I like that answer. That was great. Okay, this is my next question. Is Carson Wentz trying to kill us? Sub-question. Have you noticed how fucking weird his post-game press conference outfits have gotten since he got the big contract? Yes. Are these things connected? What say you, Senator Barchard?
I say someone went and got like a subscription to like, what's one of those places? Stitch Fix.
Yes,
Stitch Fix. He's like, Oh, let's spin the wheel. Let somebody else take care of this.
I'll wear whatever they send me.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a giant fedora where you look like the Joker.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
What's their outdoorsman urban section look like?
Yeah, right. He looked like he owns a typewriter shop that also fixes unicycles in Brooklyn. Like, dude, you can't pull that off. Like, I want that motherfucker in hunting gear at all times. Like, I wouldn't even care if he came out like Ted Nugent with a crossbow. I would be more comfortable with that than his fashion choices.
Next question. Yeah, like
yeah, exactly. That's more in line. You guys ever killed 16 quail before 9 a.m.? Like, well, no.
Well, it's kind of, yeah, they don't fly, Carson.
Yeah.
All right, tough guy.
Yeah, and you would have hit. Yeah, you only hit 16, but you actually, shot at 32. So,
yeah.
But do you think what's his erratic behavior about?
In terms of like on the field stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if he had a rumor. I didn't know.
Yeah, no.
Like,
yeah, I'm glad we got his fashion choices out of the way because they're questionable, and I have other theories. But what do you think his erratic behavior on the field is about?
I had a big theory. Vegan, back to meat, and the animals are yelling back at his body.
Wow.
It's karma.
You're right. He did go vegan last season. I forgot that.
And they switched back. No, I don't actually think that's what happened. But but there's a reason why he decided, okay, I'm just going to bulk back up again. Speaking of the Water Boys, they had a really interesting conversation with former wide receiver, now turned sports agent Bryce Treggs. I don't know if you know him.
Wow. Yeah, him and a few other athletes have like their own agency, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if that's I'm not exactly sure where he's going. He's about to pass his test, but that besides the point. Anyway, he looked and said Carson Wentz isn't physically fit to play the QB position at this moment. Like, he's not ready and in shape. And he kind of mentioned that about Zach Ertz too. And it was just like, oh, interesting. So I wonder if there's kind of that. Obviously, he's been getting hit a lot. So just
maybe don't run around and just get rid of the ball. Like, nobody thinks he's a check down artist, but what's wrong with checking it down?
You know what that is? You know what that is? Can I rant about that?
Yeah, give it to me.
That's why you don't bring back Marty Morningwig into a facility ever again. Right. Like, he was fine. He was aggressive, but he wasn't like ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Right. And now there's just like, all of these sacks that he took, what was that? Was that last? This is what I'm saying.
The other one where he just got laid out flat and almost got concussed again. I mean, he was running 13 yards behind.
That, if you can't tell me that coaching doesn't matter and the QB and all that other stuff, like the chemistry between what he went from, and you're right about that, from Frank Reich to whatever in the hell this is, where Marty Morningwig tried to kill McNabb in the same way, and we seem to forget that, and he broke his ribs, I think, twice under Marty Morningwig or something like that. Yeah, get that guy away from my quarterback. There's a reason why the Ravens didn't fucking want him. Like, are you insane?
Yeah, they got you away from Lamar. Why are we bringing him?
If this was going to happen, and like clearly Howie Roseman knew that this was going to be a bad season, just go back and listen to all the horrible press conferences in the offseason.
Yeah, very non-committal about just about anything.
but if you're telling me that Mike Groh is worse than what has happened to this offense, it's not an
Doug
offensive
didn't want Mike Groh to go. There was the whole thing where he's like, I didn't do it. Well,
he's like, no, we're going to go get Joe Brady. And then Joe Brady's like, I'm going to go be an offensive coordinator for my boy in Carolina.
Yeah. I'm not going to go get your coffee. But to what you're saying about Carson and with Doug, I think we're circling around the same thing, which is like, there can't be too many cooks in the kitchen. And when you work in a kitchen, the chef has to be the chef. You have, and then
stop yelling fire.
Yeah. just and also let's just put together a series, run it twice. Throw a quick pass. Like, everything doesn't, and Doug, of course, his best friend is Brett Favre, who I understand did send unsolicited dick pics whilst wearing Crocs to a young reporter and is an idiot and kind of a buffoon, is an amazing quarterback. But the thing about it is, with Brett Favre, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So that's kind of Carson Wentz. It's high risk, high reward. But you know what? Biggie got shot. Tupac got shot, but the same thing with Carson. You take the good with the bad because Biggie and Tupac also recorded Juicy and Dear Mama. So to me with Carson Wentz, it's like I never get too upset because, you know, for every time he takes that stupid sack or runs around like a chicken with his head cut off or refuses to run the fucking play, just run the fucking play they told you. I do think that you also get those great across the field passes to Travis Fulgham. So...
Man, you said that with your chest. A lot of chests, actually.
Yeah, no, it went so far up, I think I pulled something. You know, I'm 41 now. I can't be making all these wild gestures. All right, we're on to a question that I've been afraid to hear the answer to. And I wish this never happens, okay? But I have to ask this because his contract negotiations with Howie have just been going the wrong way from the get-go. But John Barchard, will Zach Ertz be a Philadelphia Eagle next year? Sub-question, if not, and they trade him away, are you willing to join me in pulling a Tiananmen Square and sacrificing our human bodies by strapping them to the runway at Philadelphia International Airport, unallowing his private jet to leave Philadelphia airspace?
Can we film it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I assumed that we were going to be filming it and streaming it because we'll be dead. Okay. But we would need it to be... Yeah, we need it to go to the cloud. I mean, you're the professional. You would know what to do.
I guess I know nothing about rating in a runway, so that sounds like it's your department.
Well, yeah, you're going to need wire cutters, bolt cutters. First of all, you're going to have to break the perimeter. I've thought a lot about this.
I'm in. Whatever it is, I'm in.
All right, good. That's on record. I have your committal. All right, we're in a death cult now. Those are very popular these days. But will Zach Ertz be a Philadelphia Eagle next year?
Zach, if this ever gets back to you somehow, man, I don't know what happened, but I think they fucked you over, man. And like, this is weird, isn't it? Like, how does he go from one of the greatest tools that Carson Wentz can have,
one of the greatest
best friend,
he's right there, he won the Super Bowl.
It just seems, it's going around the team too. It just seems like it doesn't like each other anymore. Yeah, it just happened overnight. Like, it just goes,
I agree.
Well, Howie doesn't want me here. You can feel the shift. I feel like that's happening with Doug and Howie and Carson, and there's all this thing. And I said, listen, I said it on the Waterboys podcast. I might as well say it here too. I think there's some element of Carson or Doug trying to defend Carson away from Jalen Hurts and the push from Howie.
Oh, okay.
I really do, because like, it went from you're going to be a year out to QB3 to QB2 to like get him on the field. Wow. And I think that's
I think you're right. You see people going in many different directions, and Zach's like, well, if you don't fucking want me, then I'm going to go to Baltimore or something and get paid.
Right, and he should, because he took a really nice deal at the time, and even then people were complaining about how expensive it was, and he should wait to get paid, and they should have paid him, and they tried to obviously trade him to Atlanta for Julio Jones. That seems really legitimate.
Yeah, it did seem like they did say that they were, if he hadn't been injured, Howie was shopping him. And
no disrespect.
Maybe that's what that argument we saw at practice was about. I don't know.
No disrespect, though. I would absolutely go back in time and get Julio Jones on this team right now.
Right. Okay, yes, we could use Julio
He's having
Jones
an amazing year.
But then, like you said about Zach Ertz, I just remember last year that they're like, the guy's going to play with a ruptured kidney or whatever the fucking could die. And he still did it. So it's like, if that doesn't get you a contract, then really, I don't know what does.
Yeah, man, like, what's it? And everyone else got paid and got rewarded, and it just seems like, I'll tell you this. I got scared the moment that they said no to Malcolm, and I go, oh no, they're going to do the same thing to Zach, and they're going to make him look like the enemy. And I think they've done a really good job of that. Don't you? I mean, like, certainly, no one likes him.
They did make it seem like he didn't want to be there, and then you saw from his body language in some of those games, and you just don't expect that from him because he's such a great personality. He's such a great representative of the team. I just wish that Philadelphia and the Eagles in particular, but a lot of our teams have this. I just wish our specialty wasn't like having an athlete during their prime but then watching them go somewhere else and win, like Brian Dawkins in an orange jersey vexes me to this moment. Reggie White going to the Packers, I will never be over it. Never, ever, ever. I'll never get over it. So to see Zach Ertz in a purple jersey next year or wherever, maybe he's a Seahawk, who knows?
Seahawks would be great for him.
Oh my God, that's what I thought. I said, you know what? If he's smart, he wants to go play with Russell Wilson. The dude has 2 hyperbolic chambers in his house. The guy's a specimen.
Yeah, I'll play there till I'm 41. I love the West Coast. Oh,
what did Russell Wilson say the other day? I plan on playing till I'm 4,500 years old. I have an entire team of doctors and a hyperbolic chamber that goes everywhere with me. I was like, holy shit, he's a superhero.
You did get paid, didn't you?
Oh my goodness gracious! How much is a hyperbolic chamber on Amazon? Looks up hyperbolic chamber. Okay, so here's a question. Speaking of the Eagles franchise being, sort of this up and down thing right now, for the last 3 to 4 years, we've also been one of the most injury-plagued teams in the entire league, kind of by far. I would say Washington and some other teams, but definitely us. So I would ask you, John, who is your favorite doctor on the Eagles medical staff? Larry, Mo, or Curly?
I liked Larry in year 2. I
yes.
thought he had potential. Curly came later, and then
Ben Schleppy.
You know what though? I don't think it's like I totally blame the process on them for sure, but I don't blame those doctors in particular.
Okay.
I think there's just so much. Obviously, there's a lot of miscommunication going on.
Well, yeah, because it feels like some people are coming back too early, and it feels like some people are nursing things that they could play, but they're like, well, I also am planning on getting traded, so I'm not going to play.
Well, that's a whole different.
Right, that's a hard thing to navigate.
That what's happening there is a sort of and obviously you can see why. So but in terms of, I mean, think of all there's bad surgeries that happen there for sure. And for some reason it's escaping my mind, but a lot of that Super Bowl team had those injuries. I mean, people from Emmanuel Acho was.
Brandon had one, but then last year you had Deshaun choosing not to do the surgery and sort of going with a second opinion,
right?
Which shows you a lack of trust amongst the player, his people, and that medical staff. At least to me, that's what it shows.
Yeah, and Carson, the same thing. When he tore his ACL, he went right to Pittsburgh, and everybody was like, "Whoa, who's this person?" He's like, "You've never done surgery before," and then it turned out he's done 1 million of them, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, he went to like the Pittsburgh guy, the microscopic or whatever expert. It was like in the middle of the night, and even Eagles reporters didn't know. So
so that kind of sends some signals there too, and then just. I don't know. Everyone.
I was like, did the Sixers medical staff do they just work for the Eagles during the
Some of them did. Some of them did. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God, did they?
There. Oh, of course. Yeah, there was guys that did both, and there was.
Hey, no.
Head of medicine on one side. Oh, yeah. They all play on the same playground for the most part.
Yeah, it's like, do you guys even follow the Sixers? That's a huge bugaboo.
Yeah, maybe not do that. So yeah.
I know more about the meniscus.
Yeah.
Just from following the Sixers and ankles and feet. Ankles, feet, meniscus.
We all became doctor experts.
Yeah, no, it's part of the Philadelphia fandom, in particular about the Eagles the last few years. It's like, I like hearing John Ritchie break down people's body parts and injuries, but not that much, you know what I mean? So here's a great question about the current season right now. And listen, we have put together a few wins. Some of those losses were games we probably could have won. And I hate to mention it again, but we did tie the Bengals. Ooh, it stings. Still hurts. Hurts so good. But my question for you is, one of the big bright spots is wide receiver number 13, Travis Fulgham. And my question to you is very simple. Is Travis Fulgham the real deal that we hope he is? Or is he the right guy at the right place at the right time, considering that Doug cut him over the summer?
You know what? I'm going to lean more opposite way. Right person, right time, right everything for now. He's been so impressive, and I don't want to take anything away from him. And everybody's saying that dude can play. And Darius Slay even had mentioned, That was my scout team wide receiver.
Wow.
All that other
I didn't
stuff,
hear
and you're
that
like,
one. Okay, cool.
okay, yeah, like all right, cool. It's a great trend for him, and I mean, like my eyes lie to me all the time. I thought JJ was one of the next up and coming wide receivers after seeing him in training camp and in person. I'm like, yep, I liked him on tape. Yep, I see him in person. Yep, that guy's the real
you were
deal.
at that training camp too, because he really did look great, especially on the preseason games too, man.
I was like, this guy's going to be fantastic, and then the next thing you know, that's wrong too. So like, Greg Ward was another guy who spotted at that event as well, and you saw him progress. So.
Well, I love Greg Ward, and side note, I love how much Merrill Reese loves Greg Ward. He's like, there he is, my baby boy, Greg Ward. Me and my wife, Sydney, drive him to practice every day and give him a juice box. I mean, he just loves Greg Ward.
Yeah, and that's I don't know where these the practice squad wide receivers keep coming from, but man, if Travis Fulgham ends up, sustaining this through next season, and then everybody can finally relax and actually see the graciousness and wonderfulness of my boy Jalen Reagor. The two of them together are going to be a fantastic pair.
Well, I love seeing Jalen Reagor come back from the thumb injury. He fought through it. He had something on his thumb the other day. He did have that one pass that sort of, I think, got away from him. I don't think he could, not got away from him, but he couldn't really grab that hand around it. But then he had some other really, really, really great plays. So I like him a lot. I like Travis Fulgham. I don't know if I'm about to go with some tweet takes where it's like, he's got, he's the next T.O. without all the baggage. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. Like, T.O. did like play under, Jerry Rice, so it's a little bit different. It's like he was like the sorcerer's apprentice, bro. Okay? He's a Jedi apprentice. But I do like this crop of young receivers. I do feel like some of the
Steve Smith, by the way, is what I was going to say on.
Oh wow!
Reagor. I think
you think Reagor's like Steve Smith?
Yeah, his mentality is very much like that. I mean, like he's
obviously
he's not afraid to get popped, and that's that might be a problem later on in his career, but like that's the guy you need. Is just he's so strong mentally, you can tell, and just
he knows the playbook, and he's coming hard off the line, and he seemed to have used the
really
top
smart
of the injury to really like, okay, they're gonna use me on these 5 packages, and that's fucking it. So I'm gonna make the most of those plays. And like I said, if he had gotten his hand around that other one, he would have had pretty much the same kind of the same stat line as Fulgham that day. So again, I'm glad that we're on the same page about that. It's like let's not put him in the Hall of Fame yet. Let's not put him in Canton yet. But let's definitely, this guy is definitely who we need right now to be stepping up. And Jalen Reagor coming back is a big deal. So that was an awesome. You really delivered. Great breakdown about the Eagles 2020 season. But I have a side question at the end. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Last question. Side topic. Sort of Sixers related. All right, here we go, John Barchard. Bigger drama queen, Joel Embiid or Russ Gutin?
Ooh.
Be honest, I could take it.
Oh, man.
I live for the drama.
Close. Wow, this is really close.
Wow.
I'm going to say Joel's got you by like his large leg, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can accept that because you're saying he has more body to be crying with than usual.
Yes.
Yeah, and he likes hot sauce. He has his own hot sauce now. The guy just likes to be streaming tears all the time.
You need to be telling me about I didn't even realize he's got a new hot sauce.
He has his own hot sauce, right? I believe, and then he's got some. His new sneakers came out. I hated when he wore the first. I didn't like the first ones that he wore, but the new ones are the, I guess, Sixers edition.
Yeah,
they're
more
awesome. Red, white, and blue because Papa Russ loves his sneakers. Okay, so I have definitely got a sneaker issue. So I want to say, Joel, I know you were really worried about it, but I'm becoming very interested in your sneakers. Assuming that you sign that you stay here for at least another 3 years because I bought your jersey. Because like I said, I'm tired of buying freaking jerseys and then the guy goes play somewhere else. It's very hard for me, John. I match my outfits to my sneakers.
You're having a heart attack about this. This is why you need to be in like one of those. Not in a sneakerhead club or something like that, where you're just console. Oh, you probably are. You're probably in the virtual.
No.
You got the PS5 plugged in.
I've
It's
done
like,
my best to try everything in moderation. I try to protect myself from myself, and I try to keep the sneakers limited.
I can tell by the wonderful amount of collectibles that you have behind you.
Yes. Oh man. Well, one day we can get into all that. We've got everything from pod racing helmets to Eagles tickets and old school bumper stickers and mugs to Comedy Store memorabilia, and of course lots of nerd memorabilia like Star Wars and Cobra Kai and all those cool things. I've almost, I know I texted you the other day, I am on the cusp of defeating Cobra Kai this week, so I'm very excited, the video game. But Mr. John Barchard of Last Out Media, one of the great Eagles personalities in all of the podcast, radio, and Eagles Twitterverse, and also my great friend from all the way back in the day with the Nest of the West at Big Wangs in Hollywood. I can't thank you so much for joining us tonight and giving us your expert opinion of our beloved birds, Mr. John Barchard.
Thank you for having me, sir. Thank you.
We love you so much, brother. Again, thank you for joining us on Season 2, Episode 5 of Philly Comedy Club Presents the RUS GUTIN Experience here on Zoom and my YouTube channel for an Eagles edition of Russell Around the Interwebs. Go Birds!